TheJamies.net.
We sailed on the MSC Seaside for 7 nights in June 2023. If you follow these 10 tips, you'll likely enjoy sailing on her as much as we did. Just a quick note that if you enjoy this video, please give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. It really helps our channel. And consider subscribing so you get alerted when we add new videos. Our first 4 tips are for the elevators on board the Seaside. And our first tip is to try to be patient with the ship's smart elevators. The smart elevators required us to press the deck number we were heading to, and then the system directed us to a specific elevator. The system was designed to optimize elevator travel by grouping together guests going to the same decks, but it seemed to direct too many people to each elevator. Often, the result was longer wait times because guests had to skip boarding an already crowded elevator and start the entire process again. Additionally, because the system required you to select your deck ahead of time, we could not change our destination once we were on board, unless another guest was already headed to our new destination. Our next tip is to be aware that the 2 main elevator bays on the MSC Seaside are located slightly forward of Midship and slightly aft of Midship. Many other cruise ships have 3 main elevator bays, located forward, midship, and aft, so the Seaside's layout was slightly disorienting early in our cruise. Once we figured out that the 2 main elevator bays were both located closer to midship, it made navigating the ship much easier. Our third tip is to be aware that both of the main elevator bays have 2 sets of elevators, with 4 elevators on the port or left side of the ship, and 4 elevators on the starboard or right side of the ship. During our cruise, we noticed that one set of elevators was usually less crowded than the other set. So if the set of elevators we initially approached looked a bit busy, we walked to the other set of elevators and seemed to avoid longer waits. Our final elevator tip is to try the 2 glass elevators at the very back of the MSC Seaside if you want a more traditional elevator experience with traditional up and down buttons. During our cruise, we used the 2 glass elevators instead of the smart elevators anytime we were relatively close to the back of the ship. Even if the elevators were less efficient than the ship's smart elevators, the view off the back of the ship was stunning and worth the extra time. Just keep in mind that the aft elevators did not go lower than Deck 7, and they did not go higher than Deck 16. Our 5th tip is to make sure you reserve your ticket sooner rather than later for popular shows at the ship's Metropolitan Theater. During our cruise, tickets for all shows were available for reservation 24 hours prior to showtime, and popular shows such as Peter Punk and Starwalker were fully booked relatively quickly, well before showtime. Our next tip is to head toward the aft section of the Seaside's Marketplace Buffet on Deck 8 if you need to find some available seating. During our cruise, the back section of the buffet was significantly less crowded than the more forward section. There was also a bit of seating available near Bistro La Boheme, which was located in the midship area that was forward of the buffet. And for guests who wanted to enjoy an outdoor dining experience, there was outdoor seating available at the very back of the ship and on both sides of the buffet. Speaking of the buffet, our 7th tip is to reach for a coffee mug instead of a cup when getting a drink at the buffets. During our cruise, we discovered that the coffee mugs held a bit more drink than the small plastic cups. Additionally, the handle on the mugs made it much easier to carry multiple beverages back to our table or our stateroom. Our next tip is to be aware that complimentary soft-serve ice cream is available on the MSC Seaside. However, it was only available during lunch hours at the smaller Biscayne Bay restaurant and buffet on Deck 16 Midship during our cruise. Unlike the larger Deck 8 buffet, the Deck 16 buffet was only open for lunch on embarkation day and days at sea, which limited the availability of the soft-serve ice cream for our cruise. Our ninth tip is to prepare to wait in line to sign a waiver for both kids and adults in your party who want to ride the water slides on the MSC Seaside. During our cruise, we discovered that the waivers could not be completed prior to boarding, and the line to fill out the waivers consistently had a dozen or more people waiting with very slow progress. Our 10th and final tip is to make sure you find the two relatively hidden storage areas available in your stateroom on the MSC Seaside. The first area was a cabinet that was located beneath the sink in the bathroom. The door for the cabinet was completely unmarked, so we overlooked it many times. Inside, the cabinet had a shelf and a wastebasket available. The other area was a drawer that was located under the desk. Like the bathroom cabinet, the drawer was completely unmarked, and we overlooked it many times. Inside, the drawer had some space for storage, and a small hairdryer was available.